2013's SummerSlam pay-per-view was easily one of the best pay-per-views in WWE history, especially recent memory. We had Christian versus Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. We had Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk in what was, in my opinion, the single best match of 2013 for WWE. And of course, in the main event, we had John Cena versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. A tremendous matchup, easily among one of the best of the year, and Daniel Bryan finally winning the WWE title. And of course, following that matchup, we had the heel turn of Triple H and Randy Orton and all this great, shocking stuff happening. And thus, the Authority was born in this long-running storyline that finally culminated this past Sunday at WrestleMania. And more on that in a moment. But SummerSlam, to me, was the culmination of what was a great time for the WWE. Dating back to, I think, about Extreme Rules last year. Extreme Rules for 2013 was amazing. Extreme Rules almost always is. Therefore, I look forward to this year's event. But it was kind of the start of something fresh and invigorating for WWE. Those 3 months from May to August were amazing. Extreme Rules was great, as was Payback, as was Money in the Bank, and of course, SummerSlam topped it all off. It was the culmination of just this amazing SummerSlam or summertime season for the WWE and pro wrestling as a whole. It was an exciting time to be a WWE fan. It always is in the summertime, but this was easily one of the best summer seasons for WWE in quite some time. Of course, with this pay-per-view ended the strong streak of great programming for the WWE. And of course, this is all subjective. A lot of people might have found that it was boring as hell, and the last 8 months have been fantastic. This is all subjective. This is all, in my opinion, what I've observed, what I've felt as a fan over the last number of months. But anyway, following SummerSlam, we had the birth of an all-new, I don't want to say era, but an all-new time in WWE. John Cena was taken out with an injury. He took some time off television. Daniel Bryan was in the central focus of the storylines for a number of months. Sheamus took some time off. So we had some fresh faces atop the WWE. Randy Orton hadn't been in the world title scene for a number of years. So it felt fresh. It felt like something new. Bryan and Orton reinvigorating their rivalry, rekindling their feud from earlier on in the year. Triple H is a heel for the first time in 7 years. So I thought it was going to be great. A lot of people thought it was going to be great post-SummerSlam, but it ended up being the exact opposite. Night of Champions sucked. It was a major disappointment, especially following SummerSlam. The first bad pay-per-view of that year since WrestleMania 29. And don't even get me into that pay-per-view. That was terrible. In my opinion, of course. Like I said, subjective. But nevertheless, the vacant WWE Championship storyline, the whole abeyant bullshit, all that stuff for the remainder of 2013. Hell in the Cell was not all that great. It was good, but it was not all that great. Battleground was absolutely atrocious. Easily one of the worst pay-per-views I think I've ever seen in my life, aside from that one tag team match with the Road Brothers and the Shield. TLC was okay. SummerSlam or Survivor Series was terrible too. So just those final few months of 2013 were it wasn't a good time to be a WWE fan, or a pro wrestling fan for me at least, because I watched WWE and TNA, and not even TNA at that point in time was all that great. But I'll speak solely about WWE in this video. So not a lot of great stuff going on in WWE for the remainder of 2013. I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't honestly tell you the last time I marked out during that period of time, because not all that many great things happened. There was just a lot of disappointment. Daniel Bryan was completely taken out of the title picture after Hell in a Cell when I think he should have won the championship. Of course, I take that back now, seeing what happened at WrestleMania. Whether that was planned or not, I have no idea. But even still, though, it was just very depressing, I should say. And what I've now doned that era of WWE, that time period, the dark days of the WWE, the dark ages, so to speak. And I thought we were in for something better, something fresh, an all-new year, an exciting new year going into 2014. Because, of course, the final Raw of 2013, I think it was on December 30th, 2013, it was just a great show. We had Daniel Bryan joining the Wyatt family, Brock Lesnar announcing his intentions to become the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Just all this great stuff happening in the final Raw of the year. And I was excited to see what would happen going into WrestleMania season. January started off strong. We had the old school Raw, which is great. Just a lot of great stuff. We had the return of the New Age Outlaws, which was really cool. And just a lot of cool stuff happening. The Ultimate Warrior being announced as the newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. Just all this cool stuff going into WrestleMania season. And of course, that all went downhill. And of course, Batista's return too was very exciting on paper. but that all went downhill and took a turn for the worst after the Royal Rumble. That pay-per-view, I think, in my opinion, was pretty good. Just the Royal Rumble match, it was probably one of the more disappointing Rumble matches in recent memory. Batista winning was obviously the biggest disappointment for a lot of people. A lot of people knew he was going to win. I thought he was going to win. A lot of people had their money on Bryan, and I hoped he would be in there. He didn't even enter the entire thing at all. And of course, after that point in time, CM Punk left the WWE, so that was hard for a lot of fans, including myself, for a short period of time. We had Daniel Bryan taken out of the title picture. He wasn't even in the Royal Rumble match. He had lost to Bray Wyatt. Just not a lot of... We had John Cena versus Randy Orton in the middle, in the main event of the fucking Royal Rumble pay-per-view, the millionth time we'd seen those guys face off in the last 6-7 years. So that was a bit ridiculous. And just a lot of stupid stuff, I guess I could say, going on in the WWE at that point in time. Elimination Chamber, which was much of the same, just a lot of bland stuff. I can't tell you all that much of what happened because I can't even remember, and that was only less than 2 months ago. The Chamber matches were great. The main event one was, that is. And just Daniel Bryan once again came up short of winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And it just felt like a major disappointment for me and many fans because I suspected that he would not be able to get that championship back at WrestleMania. I didn't think they were building towards that at all, and I could have been happier to have been wrong. They ended up putting Daniel Bryan in the title picture by having him continue his feud with Triple H, and whether that was the plan the entire time, I personally don't think so. I doubt that, or whether they had to change plans, which is my belief and a lot of people's belief. They changed plans due to CM Punk's departure from the company because it looked like he was being set up to a match with Triple H at WrestleMania 30. And of course, that would have been a great matchup, but had we gotten that matchup at WrestleMania, we wouldn't have gotten Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, which is where the real rivalry is at. D-Bry and Punk have been feuding consistently and almost appearing in the same segment for the last 8 months, and we were never able to see Triple H finally get what was coming to him at the hands of Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan was fighting back against the Authority all of this time, so Punk's departure ended up working for the best, and I don't think, had he been there, the show probably still would have been very good, but I don't know if it would have played out the way it did. I guess we'll never know. But even still, though, Daniel Bryan being built up as the new face of the company, not the John Cena face of the company, but being featured in Raw main events, closing out the show, opening the show, facing Orton, facing H, facing Batista, all this stuff, and it finally culminated at WrestleMania. A lot of people had their doubts that it would be a good show, but WWE proved them all wrong, myself included. I thought it would be a great show, but they proved me wrong by exceeding my expectations. We had Hogan appearing there, Stone Cold Steve Austin making his first WWE appearance in nearly 3 years, The Rock making an appearance for the first time since last year's WrestleMania when he lost to John Cena. We also had Bryan versus Triple H in a great match kicking off the show. Daniel Bryan going over clean. We had Cesaro winning the Battle Royal. The Shield going over. AJ Lee retaining her Divas Championship. Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. Not the most exciting matchup, and I wished Bray Wyatt would have won, but the entrance was awesome. I'm sure he'll continue to be pushed going forward. Easily one of the best characters WWE has at the moment. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, the end of this streak, which I was originally going to make this video on. Maybe I'll just write an article on it instead. But even still, that was very shocking, and the end of an era, so to speak. And I'll get on that more on that in a minute. But and of course, in the main event, we saw Daniel Bryan finally win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in an ending for the ages for WrestleMania, and easily one of the best Mania finishers in years, in my opinion, with Daniel Bryan finally overcoming the Authority and becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. An awesome feel-good moment. And a lot of people, myself included, were very sad to see the streak end at the hands of Brock Lesnar. Whether Brock Lesnar was the right guy, that's up for debate to be the one to end the streak. But regardless, though, that was the end of one era, and we had the start of another with Daniel Bryan as the new World Heavyweight Champion. And that was continued going into the next night's Raw. We had the debut of multiple talents. We had Paige debut and win the Divas Championship in one of my favorite Raw moments in recent memory. We had Alexander Rusev finally make his in-ring debut. Bad News Barrett finally wrestled after a long time of being on that stupid podium and doing nothing. We had vignettes air for Bo Dallas, for Adam Rose. Just all this great, fresh stuff occurring on the show. We also had the return of Rob Van Dam. We had Ultimate Warrior make an appearance, which was very cool. His first Raw appearance in nearly 2 decades. So just a lot of awesome stuff happening in the WWE, especially with last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, and what my opinion was the best episode of Raw of 2014, hands down, of course. But maybe in the last few years, I think everything on that show was just so perfectly booked. Everything. I couldn't find one thing to complain about. And the biggest takeaway coming out of that show was the fact that it was the dawn of a new era. We said that coming out of WrestleMania, and we're all saying it now coming out of last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. They're pushing new talent. I wanted Sting to be there too, just like everyone else with The Undertaker, with the showdown going into WrestleMania 31. We all wanted to see it. I understand that. But that the focus wouldn't have been on the new talent. The end of last night's Raw was on The Shield and Daniel Bryan. The new age going against the old age in the reuniting of Evolution, which is also very cool, as well as Kane and the Authority in general. So, that being said, though, it's a new day in the WWE. So after all of those months of the screwy finishes to pay-per-views, the boring-ass matches with fucking Big Show and Randy Orton and John Cena and Orton and all that bullshit that we were spoon-fed for 8 months straight, it finally all feels worth it. And I gotta thank the WWE for that, for finally putting their shit together, finally getting their shit together. Whether this was planned the entire time, I have my doubts. I don't think WWE thinks this far ahead more often than not. But even still, though, they did a hell of a job with WrestleMania. Undoubtedly one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen as a fan, and just in general, one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Monday Night Raw was amazing as well. Will this continue going forward? Only time will tell. I can't say this is the golden era, the golden age of pro wrestling right now, because it's only been 2 or 3 days. We need to give it more time. Ask me again in a month, and maybe we'll see if this really is the dawn of a new era. But it's really starting to feel like it. They're finally putting focus on the young guys. I was saying this on my Facebook page a couple days ago, but the champions, all the current champions in WWE, all debuted in 2010 or later. And they're all faces, too. And usually I would moan and groan at that, because the last time we had all face champions was back in the summer of 2012, which was boring as hell, or at least the first part of the summer, and I think it was June at least. It was boring as hell, nothing exciting going on at all. And then after that, we had the Summer of Punk and all that kind of stuff in 2012, but this is the first time in nearly 2 years that we've had all face champions. They all have great chemistry together. We've got Daniel Bryan, Big E, Dean Ambrose, the Usos, and of course Paige as of Monday's Raw. So it's a really exciting time right now to be a WWE fan. The WWE Network, which I watched WrestleMania 30 on, was phenomenal. The live stream had very few issues. Early on, it ticked up a little bit. I had a few lagging issues with Bryan versus Triple H. But aside from that, though, it was a phenomenal live stream, so I give it up to the WWE for that. Give them a huge round of applause for making sure the WWE Network was pitch perfect, and it had to be with it being WrestleMania 30. And a lot of people wouldn't have bought the network had anything gone wrong. So it was a great thing for WWE. The whole WWE Network thing, I think, is a work of art. It was a great idea in theory and in execution. They've done a great job with it. I watch it whenever I can. I'm usually busy more often than not, but on the weekends and stuff, I check it out. It's phenomenal. Just in general, though, the WWE has just been flourishing these last few days. I think the last 5 or 6 Raws have been great, but last night's was kind of the cherry on the cake, on top of the cake. So I've been loving Raw. I've been loving WWE. I said this last night multiple times on Twitter, but it's just a great time to be a wrestling fan right now. I mean, there's just so much to look forward to with Daniel Bryan still taking on the Authority, but it's not him being beaten down every single fucking week. Now he's got the Shield in his corner, and he's finally looking like an equal to Triple H, and the whole storyline that they built up to this over the last 8 months, and it just kind of goes to show that sometimes you got to wait through the storm, you got to let the storm pass by before the good weather. I guess that's a stupid ass cliche. I'm sorry for that, but you kind of understand what I'm starting to get at here. You know what I mean? That you gotta have to go through all these bad times to appreciate the good. Anyone who didn't appreciate WrestleMania or Monday Night's Raw, I won't judge you, but you gotta start appreciating it. Otherwise, you're gonna go back to that crappy content that we were spoon-fed for 8 months straight. That I did not have any markout moments at all, didn't like anything that was going on, was not happy with the direction of the WWE. It's a new day in the WWE that is focusing on the future for the first time in years. I mean, this is the first time, I think, since maybe WrestleMania 21 when we had the emergence of Batista, John Cena, Edge, Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio as new top talent in the WWE. That's exactly what happened on WrestleMania and on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, which is phenomenal. So here's hoping WWE can continue to push forward with their great content. It usually does die down after WrestleMania. April isn't always a great month for the WWE, but May, and especially going into the summer in a few months, I'm extremely looking forward to that. And here's hoping they can continue to push forward with great content and just WWE. Just the moments they produce is why I'm a wrestling fan. The moments that they give you something to be excited about and that puts you in a good mood for days on end, those are the moments you live for. Those are the moments that you watch wrestling for. And those are the moments they provided at WrestleMania and Monday Night Raw. Those are the great moments, the feel-good moments that we've been yearning for 8 months straight. And WWE finally delivered. They finally came through, and we are now living in a new era. Is it the reality era that Triple H had dawned on, that the new term that he sported, the new term that he debuted a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw? That remains to be seen. I guess we'll have to wait and see, and whether it really is the reality era or not. I mean, Triple H called it that. I'm sorry, CM Punk called it that a few years ago. I don't know if that was a shoot at CM Punk or if that was a jab at CM Punk for calling it the reality era. But regardless, though, whatever it's called, whether it's a reality era, the youth movement era, whatever it is, we are in the middle of a new era in the WWE. It's a dawn of a new day, and I couldn't be any more excited for it. So thanks for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment below, all that great stuff. Always appreciate it. If you have any more video suggestions that you want me to talk about, whether it be my Wrestle Rant series, because this is supposed to be my review of WrestleMania 21, but I have yet to finish it, and that will hopefully be up in the next few days. I was busy last week, so I was unable to finish it before WrestleMania 30. But regardless, if you have any more suggestions of things you want me to touch upon, the streak, Daniel Bryan, any other ideas you want me to talk about in this vlog series, go ahead, drop it in the comment below, or tweet me on Twitter at WrestleRant, Facebook, Graham GSM Matthews, all that great stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, this is Graham GSM Matthews, signing out. Till next week, guys.